Hello everyone, welcome to a very floofy episode of Music of the Week. So yeah, we've got about another 5 albums to get through. I'll explain why I'm floofy in the conclusion of this video, but for now, yeah, got 5 albums, let's go through them. We begin in New Bedford, Massachusetts for a Wilhelm Scream and their 7th album, Lose Your Delusion. Yes, I'm counting it as their 7th because they did go through a couple of different names in their early days in the late 90s. Yeah, they've been around since the late 90s, which kind of surprised me. And this is their first album in 9 years, the first album I'm hearing in full by them, and I've known about the band for like a long time. I just never really listened to them. Then again, it's been like 9 years since they dropped an album, and my musical tastes are, they've evolved since 2013. In fact, 2013 was definitely the most evolutionary year for my musical tastes. However, having said that, this is a very nice melodic hardcore leaning style pop punk, and I was really looking forward to it, and it didn't really let me down, giving it an A+. Like, by the way, yeah, this will be a very positive episode, but I love the vibe of this one. It's about what I expected from the band. From what I've seen, it's not as shred heavy, but it's a more fun sort of thing for them, and, a lot of people don't like that, and I'm just like, why not? I liked it. I like it a lot. It's got really good performances. This is the debut of Jason Milbank, who is best known for his work in Senses Fail. He's an absolutely phenomenal lead guitarist as well. The co-vocal lead work is a little bit better from, again, what I understand. I've never listened to them before this album. I just really liked a lot of the elements to it. Maybe the first half of the album could have done with a bit of padding out, but it's still a very fun album, and yeah, it is a contender for Album of the Year for me, personally. It is one that I've listened to a lot, ever since it came out last Friday, and I keep trying to find problems with it, and I just can't, so there you go. It's a great album. Next we go to Toronto, Ontario, Canada for Cancer Bats and their 7th album, Psychic Jailbreak. Unlike a Wilhelm Scream, Cancer Bats have only had one name since they started, unless you count their cover's name of Bat Sabbath, which is a fantastic name, as is Cancer Bats. Cancer Bats is a badass name and they're a badass band. I'm more familiar with these guys than I am with the Wilhelm Scream, but the only album I've listened to by Cancer Bats before this was their last album in 2018 titled The Spark That Moves. And obviously, they probably wanted to put this one out sooner, but pandemic, oopsie doodles, not really their fault. And yes, I was bringing the table closer to bring myself a bit more in focus. And giving this album, much like I would for any Cancer Bats album, an A. I mean, it's about what you would expect from the band. They're pretty fucking great at what they do. It's a really nice sludge-tinged slice of hardcore punk. I called them, in my, review on Discord, the Canadian Every Time I Die, and I feel bad for making that reference because of Every Time I Die's recent splitting. But I think it stands, and I think this album is pretty fucking phenomenal. It is their first without lead guitarist Scott Middleton, and their bassist J.R. Schwartzer took over guitar duties as well as bass duties, so props to him. Props to Liam Cormier for being a great drummer, props to being a great singer, and props to the drummer, whose name I will find, Mike Peters, for being pretty good at what he does. So yeah, pretty solid album, pretty great album from an all-time great Canadian hardcore band. Next we go to a debut, Portland, Oregon's Hostilities with their first full-length album, No Cowards, even though it is a full-length album, but there's only 9 songs and it's only about 20 minutes long-ish, not even a full 20 minutes. Having said that, this might be my favourite debut of the year so far. I'm giving this one also an A. I really loved how, first of all, lead singer Larissa Perrin, we need more black women in punk. Thank you for being a black woman in punk. We need more of you. Secondly, love the political, lyrical themes and themes about race and racial abuse and things like that. I loved, basically, almost everything about the album. I do wish it were a bit longer, but it's a carefully thought out album as well. These are a very intelligent band for a band that's so young in their career. I don't know how long they've been around, maybe since 2020, 2019. That's not a long time, and yeah, I can't really think of enough good to say about the album. I mean, it is a bit short, which I think is what pulls it from being an A+, but besides that, it's got phenomenal lyrics, really great songwriting, the performances are fucking heavy, the themes and tone are pretty heavy as well. Obviously, yeah, this is another great album, absolute banger, and it won't take up too much of your time either, so if you want a short but really well thought out bit of hardcore punk and one that makes you think as well, this could be your new favourite band, and maybe they'll be one of my new favourite bands too, because this is fucking great. Next we go to London, England for Monument and their 4th album in Stasis. These are a band who I think I've heard about, but never really gotten down to fully listen to. They are a prog metal leaning metalcore act, and They do get the lowest grade of the episode, but considering that grade is a B+, I don't think that's really a bad thing. The guitar work by John Brown, who's the only member who's been with the band since they first started, is absolutely phenomenal. I really like a lot of the bass work as well. The lyrics do deal with some actually pretty heavy themes. And the structuring is pretty great. For a 50-minute long album, it does find really inventive ways to kill the time, which is saying something for this gent-style-leaning metalcore, because it can often be a bit too technical and too flashy and too wanky. No, this album doesn't waste time with that. One thing that does bother me mostly, is the vocals. I do feel like the screaming vocals are a little bit too... they're a bit generic, but the clean singing is pretty solid. It's just the scream vocals I have a little bit of a problem with. Having said that, yeah, this is still a really good album, and for my first taste of a band, again, who I knew little about, but I think I'd heard of, for my first full taste of them, I actually wasn't disappointed by this, and it's just a really solid album, so yeah, it might be my least favourite of the episode, but I would still give it a recommend, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Monuments drop next. And finally, we go to Albany, New York for Prince Daddy and the Hyena with their self-titled third album. Now, I've heard about these guys, and I actually listened to their last album, Cosmic Thrill Seekers, in 2019. That became one of my favourites of that year. In the first year I started doing Top 30, I think they were somewhere in the 30 to 21 range. I'm going to place this one a little bit higher for 2022, I reckon. I'm giving this one an A+, first of all. It's more daring than Cosmic Thrill Seekers. It's a bit more energetic as well. It's got more melody to it. It's got better timing. It's got maturity. For a band that hasn't been around this long, I really enjoyed the songwriting route that they took here, you know? There are themes of depression and toxic relationships and some minor political things, but not many political things. They do mostly stick to what they know, but they're really great at singing about what they know. And this is the debut of new bassist Adam DeSilva as well, who does a really good job on the L4 string. Well, it might not just be 4 string, but that's what you usually call a bass, isn't it? It could be 7 strings. That's a thing that exists. And yeah, just really solid work all around from everyone involved. And I think this might be their best album. The only one I haven't listened to still is their debut in 2016, but compared to Cosmic Thrill Seekers, I think this one blows that one way out of the water. And I really like Cosmic Thrill Seekers, so yeah, definitely worth a listen, this one, I think. And that'll about do it. 5 albums, covered a little bit quicker than the ones I did yesterday. And now I get to explain why my hair's so floofy, because I'm going to be streaming tonight. It obviously won't see my face, but I will be streaming my last ever show on 2K19. It's going to be War of Attrition, a huge, huge pay-per-view. The card is all sorted. There are a couple of other things I need to handle, but I will be joined by my good friend Fan. He will be doing commentary with me, which will make it a lot more exciting and entertaining and bearable to watch. And also tonight, after the stream's over, I promise I'm going to put the Grim Fandango Let's Play up on public, because I completely forgot to do it last night. And I can't apologise enough. I'm going to make up for it by putting it up tonight. I just don't want to overdo it with the content, but fuck it, no one watches my stuff. No one watches my stuff that much in a row anyway, so you'll be alright, I guess. But yeah, I'll see you all tonight for War of Attrition. Last show I'm going to do in 2K19. And, oh! Biggest recommends from this episode. I forgot to do this yesterday, doing it now before I forget. All of them! Actually, I mean, maybe least recommended is Monuments, but I still recommend giving it a check out. And fuck, all the albums in this episode are pretty great. Last weekend was a pretty good weekend for music. Well, at least the music I listened to, so yeah, really enjoyed a lot of this shit, and hopefully you will enjoy a lot of the shit, and hopefully you will enjoy the show tonight. Now I will sign off. As always, thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye-bye.